It's just about time for us to get another OP character in Zenless Zone Zero. In today's video, we're going to discuss Xiaoguang, our new Void Hunter. We'll of course break down her kit, how to use her the right way, the best builds for her, team synergies, and more. As a reminder, all of the content in this video is from the creator beta server of Zenless Zone Zero. As such, results, information, and values may slightly change for her full release on the 30th. Thank you very much to Hoyoverse for granting early access, and let's dive in! Shunguang, aka Xiaoguang, is our upcoming S-rank Honed Edge attack character. She is an on-field DPS with 2 forms and has extremely high damage potential. Let's start off with her core gameplay mechanics, followed by her kit breakdown. First, take a look at the 6 pips that are underneath her LinkedIn character profile picture. This is the Qingming Sword Force. As her main resource, when you have 6 of these, you'll be able to unlock her powerful second form called the Enlightened Mind State. In this Enlightened Mind State, her damage becomes purely Honed Edge attribute. This will still trigger the assault and flinch effects from regular physical damage, but it has a 50% miasma purification rate increase, so she has increased aptitude against these newer bosses. Anyway, there are many ways to accumulate this Qingming Sword Force, primarily through other squad mates triggering Ether Veil, or basic attacks, dodge counters, and her special attack when she's in her base form. Because of this, not only will she work amazingly well with other Ether Veil characters like Zhao, she also has her own Ether Veil called Verdict. Enemies inside of this new Ether Veil will be affected with Veil Vulnerability, which is based on their current stun damage multiplier. Basically, this just allows Xiaoguang to do insane amounts of damage even when the enemy isn't stunned. With just these things, you already have an idea of how Xiaoguang can be played. You'll accumulate your Qingming Sword Force, enter your Enlightened Mind State, deal a crap ton of damage, and repeat the process. Let's go ahead and dive into the intricacies and what makes her so powerful by talking about her kit breakdown. Xiaoguang is an interesting character because all of her skills serve a good purpose. Pretty much all of her kit will accumulate Qingming Sword Force, but let's start with basic attack. Swift Edge will launch 4 forward slashes, and you can chain into her dash attack after the 4th hit. In basic attack Cloudstream Sword Will, we get this cool animation where Xiaoguang keeps launching a flurry of blade shockwaves dealing physical damage. You won't tend to use this skill too much, but it is still useful for clearing out all of those trash mobs in some of the endgame content. We're gonna go a little bit out of order and talk about her entry skill Illuminating Darkness next. This is just one of the ways you can enter the Enlightened Mind State. When you have all 6 Qingming Sword Force, you can hold down the basic attack button or switch her onto the field while in combat. When she enters, she'll also activate her Ether Veil Verdict, and this is considered a quick assist. The reason I brought up this entry skill first is that all of the remaining basic attacks in her list of skill menus are all inside of the Enlightened Mind State. We'll go over these in the general combat route that you'll always take when she enters the Enlightened Mind State for ease of access. When you enter Enlightened Mind, you'll automatically be airborne and can go straight into Enlightened Mind Sunderlight to start things off. This will be 2 strong downward slashes in front of her, and you'll follow this up with either pressing special or the dodge button to go into Sunderlight Annihilation. Annihilation will be a strong slam attack onto the enemy, putting you in the grounded state. If you have 2 or more points of Qingming Sword Force when activating the skill, it will become even more powerful. Plus, you'll also gain Culmination. This basically just gives you an extra point of Qingming Sword Force and will be consumed 1 time instead of a pip. Anyway, back to Sunderlight Annihilation. If you're attacked by enemies during the skill, you'll trigger a block, which will negate that instance of damage. After that big slam, you'll press the special button and consume a point of Qingming Sword Force to go into Soaring Light. However, be careful not to hold down the special attack button too long, because Soaring Light will rapidly consume all of your Qingming Sword Force until none remains. But in your general combo, you won't have to worry about that too much, and you mainly use this skill when you have just a little bit of timer left on your Enlightened Mind State and you need to quickly spend your points. After Soaring Light, you'll quickly follow up into basic attack Enlightened Mind Sunderlight Maximum. This is one of her strongest moves in her kit, and will consume 1 Qingming Sword Force when using it. There's also a couple more cool things with this skill. You'll once again be able to trigger a block if an enemy tries to attack you. Plus, you can do the same thing we just talked about, where you'll press special to consume 1 point of Qingming Sword Force to go into Soaring Light. Perhaps the best thing about this is that this move will automatically follow up with Skyward Ascent, which will allow you to do the whole entire powerful combo once again. You can also go back into this airborne state with Splitting Currents. It'll just be like a normal basic attack string, and the third hit with Qingming Sword Force will go back into Skyward Ascent. So let's really break down that long form powerful combo that you can use. After entering the Enlightened Mind state, press Basic Attack to do your 2 slashes, Basic Attack again to do that big slam attack, into a Special Attack follow-up, followed by another Basic Attack input to do the Maximum Arching Strike, and then Special one more time to go back into the air to start it all again. In one activation of your Enlightened Mind state, you'll be able to cycle through this twice, which will be an insane amount of damage by itself. There's also a quicker form of this where you can go straight into the Slam from the airborne state, which is really useful for those bosses that have a shortened stun timer. We also have a special attack in the Enlightened Mind state as well. Both this one and the regular form special attack outside of Enlightened Mind have a built-in dodge. The main thing here though is that Clean Exit can go right back into Sunderlight Maximum and continue on the combo we just talked about. Take a look at this blurb for EX Special Attack Enlightened Mind Return to Dust. This will be the last move you use in your Enlightened Mind state sequence, as it will remove your Ether Veil Verdict and the Enlightened Mind state. As a little bit of summary, just make sure to use that combo while you're in the Enlightened Mind state, and then right when you're about to run out of time, either press the ultimate button or hold down your special attack button to use Return to Dust. This will be the best way to maximize your damage potential inside the state, both inside of a stun window and even outside because of her strong vulnerability effect. The only thing to note about Xiaoguang's dodge is after a perfect dodge is triggered in the Enlightened Mind state, you can press Basic Attack to go back into that Skyward Ascent attack. She has 2 chain attacks, one outside of the state and one inside the state. EX Special Attack Gale Suppression, on the other hand, can be used freely, as the energy is different between the Enlightened Mind state and outside of it. Like the other special attacks, this also has the built-in dodge, and using this will gain 1 full point of Qingming Sword Force. When your decibel rating is at 3000, aka the maximum, you know what time it is. Press Q to activate Chasing Storms. This skill does a lot. You'll enter the Enlightened Mind state, which will also activate Ether Veil Verdict, and gain 6 Qingming Sword Force. But here's where it gets crazy, because if you use this ultimate to enter the Enlightened Mind state, you'll automatically unlock a second ultimate called Cleaving Heavens. As a quick little warning here, if you use other methods like her entry skill or Dialin's abilities to enter the Enlightened Mind state, you won't unlock the second ultimate. It's only by using this first one. Cleaving Heavens is one of, if not the most powerful skill in all of Zenless Zone Zero. This won't consume any decibels, but you should only use it at the end of your Enlightened Mind state, because of this blurb right here. Here are her general upgrade suggestions for her skill upgrades, with basic attack and core passive being the most important. We've already talked about a lot of her core passive, we'll just touch on the parts that we haven't yet. We already know about how her attacks will slowly build Qingming Sword Force, but you can hold up to 3 extra Qingming Sword Force points called Bearer. You can have up to 3 of these stacks of Bearer, and when you leave her powerful Enlightened Mind state, all of them will turn into Qingming Sword Force stacks. When you enter the battlefield, Xiaoguang will get a 30% crit rate and 25% damage increase. This blurb mentions what we talked about at the beginning of the video, with entering the Enlightened Mind state, Ether Veil Verdict, and the Honed Edge damage type. And we've already covered the Veil vulnerability aspect of her kit, so let's hop into additional ability, Shadow Trace Flight. Whenever there's a support or defense character in Xiaoguang's squad, When any squad mate triggers Ether Veil, you'll gain 3 points of Qingming Sword Force, or if you're already in the Enlightened Mind state, you'll get 3 Bearer stacks. But if you have any questions on any of that kit, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to answer each one that I can. But now it's time to finally talk about her best builds, starting with the W engines. The best one will obviously be her signature made for her, Cloud Cleave Radiance. This has that classic great advanced stat for any DPS, crit damage, and will give Xiaoguang an automatic 20% target physical resistance ignore. When she activates Ether Veil, her damage increases by 25% and crit damage by 25% for 40 seconds, with repeated triggers resetting the duration. If you are contemplating W Engine vs Mindscape 1, I give Cloud Cleave just a slight edge, although both are insanely useful and absolutely high value. As for an alternative S-Rank engine, feel free to use the Brimstone. While this does focus on attack percent more, and you'd rather have some crit rate and crit damage, it's still more than viable on Xiaoguang. It's kind of the same concept for some of her A ranks. Cannon Rotor is a great choice, although it focuses on attack percent, but it still does have a crit rate advanced stat. Either of the event engines, Gilded Blossom or Marcado Desire, are also decent choices. As for her disk drives, the best in slot 4 piece for her will be the brand new set that looks like it was pretty much made for her. Whitewater Ballad will give you that physical damage plus 10%. In any Ether Veil, your crit rate will increase by 10% as well. However, if the equipper is an attack character, activating or extending Ether Veil will give you another 10% crit rate plus 10% attack for 30 seconds. Oh, and when your Ether Veil ends, you still get this bonus for 15 seconds, with repeated triggers resetting the duration. As for 2 pieces, I recommend starting with Branch and Blade Song for the extra crit damage, although you can also use Woodpecker Electro for the crit rate. As for main stats and substats, follow the general idea for any DPS character. Slot 4 should be crit rate or crit damage, slot 5 should be physical damage bonus or attack percent with amazing substats, and slot 6 should be attack percent. Substats follow the same priority, with crit damage being the same as crit rate, then attack percent, then regular attack, and then the rest. As for our cute little helper friends, the Bang Boos, you should pretty much always be using the new one, Sprout, with Xiaoguang, since that's like her best little friend. The next thing we have to quickly mention is her team synergies. In case you haven't heard, we're also getting a brand new S-Rank character alongside Xiaoguang, and she is absolutely free. That's right, Xiaoguang's best friend and best partner is our cute little bunny Thyron, Xiao. Make sure to check out that early access video for Xiao, but in a basic rundown, she quickly and reliably triggers Ether Veil, which will not only give Xiaoguang those 3 Qingming Sword Force points, but also huge damage and attack buffs. Dialin is also another amazing partner for Xiaoguang. Some of you may be wondering about Dialin's Daze vulnerability effect. And yes, it does in fact stack with Xiaoguang's Veil vulnerability we talked about earlier in the video. Plus, with Dialin's ability to turn any character's chain attack into their ultimate, you can understand how much faster we'll be getting into the Enlightened Mind state, consistently dealing high DPS in Xiaoguang's powerful form. If you don't have Dialin though, you can always use Astriao, just like pretty much any other attack team. If you don't have either of those strong characters, I also found a lot of success with Chifufu and Trigger as backup alternatives. But if you've seen one of these guide videos before, you know I like to leave you with some free-to-play options. And luckily my job is fairly easy this time since we're getting Xiao for free in 2.5. As a third character in Xiaoguang's free-to-play squad, I found success with either Nicole or yes, even Rina, although you will have to alter your playstyle a little bit in order to keep these buffs active. As if Xiaoguang needed any more power, for those of you who wanted a little bit more strength out of our Thyron, let's talk about some Mindscapes. Mindscape 1 gives you a ton of value right off the bat, because upon entering the battlefield, you'll get 6 Qingming Sword Force right away, allowing you to go straight into Enlightened Mind. Plus, that effect we talked about will increase damage dealt by an additional 10% and ignore 20% of the target's defense. Mindscape 2 raises the max stacks of Bearer to 6 and Culmination to 9. While in the Enlightened Mind state, each point of Qingming's Sword Force will grant 1 stack of Culmination, and EX Special Attack Enlightened Mind Soaring Light plus Cleaving Heaven's damage will ignore 40% of the target's defense. I mean, this Mindscape section is going to be really funny because by the time I'm done talking about 4 and 6, this little footage clip that I have going here is already going to be finished. Mindscape 4 gives you 1000 decibels upon entering the battlefield, and the vulnerability bonus provided by Verdict is increased to 200% maximum. Mindscape 6 gives us a new buff called Lantern's Wish. We'll gain 2 of these when we enter the battlefield, and 1 of these when entering Enlightened Mind, stacking up to 4 times. If you have 3 stacks of this, that EX Special Attack Outro skill is replaced with that huge damage ultimate Cleaving Heavens. This will consume the 3 stacks of Lantern Wish, but it will do 1500% of attack as additional physical damage. In other words, Xiaoguang is already one of, if not the best character in the game. If you give her these Mindscapes, I don't know what kind of content could ever come out to ever stand in your way in all of Zenless Zone Zero. I mean, if you remember from the live stream, we're getting kind of that Xiu defense rework, and all of the footage in this video was shot in that new Xiu defense. Xiaoguang just makes it feel like training mode all over again with how fast she clears everything. But that's enough out of me, and you now have all of the information you need in order to maximize Xiaoguang's power. I am so excited for everything we're getting in 2.5, and check out the other videos on this channel if you haven't already and need a little refresher on what we're getting. Plus, let me know in the comments what you think about Xiaoguang and the patch as a whole. If this guide helped in any way, please make sure to like the video and subscribe for more Zenless Zone Zero. I've got plenty of awesome videos planned for the beginning of 2026 here, so let's bring in the new year of Zenless together. As usual though, remember that you are loved, and best of luck on your Xiaoguang polls. May our new Thyron wanters be our new Thyron havers. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.